Well, hey guys, it's Mrs. New here. Welcome back to the ceramic studio. Today we're going to be making a tripod cup project. So here are just a few examples I have of this really fun project. You can see it's called the tripod cup because the bottom is a little bit of a tripod. It has 3 little feet. So this is a really fun and easy slab project, and this is what we're going to be making today. So one thing you'll notice about the tripod cups is that they do have a texture mat on them. So I do want you to use a texture mat on this assignment. You'll also notice that the rim of the cup is smoothed out. So that's another feature. And then most of these do have a handle. The only exception to that would be is if you wanted to make it more like a planter pot or maybe like a paintbrush holder or makeup brush holder. You don't have to put a handle on them if you don't want to. That is up to you, but most students do like to put a handle on them so they are a drinking mug, but that is up to you. You can also leave the handle off if you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and show you some close-ups of my hands and show you how to do this project. It goes pretty quickly and it's a really fun and simple one. So let's get started. All right, so to begin this project, you need some tools. First of all, you are going to need some slip, a serrated rib, that is the one with the pointy edges, or you could use a fork. I like to have a regular rib tool, either a wooden one or one of these flexible rubber ones is fine. You also need a texture mat, so find one of the texture mats that you like the design of in the drawer, or I'm sorry, in the crate that says texture mats, and then you'll need the cup templates. So I have this bag, it says cups on it, and you're going to want to find the template that says tripod cup. So I've got to dig around a little bit. I should have some that say tripod cup, and maybe they are not in this bag. Let me go check the other bag. All right, so they're in this bag. They're in a specific bag. So it just says tripod cup or planter. And there are different sizes in here of these basically pieces of mat board that are cut. So you can see you can do a really short one like that. Some of them are taller, but all of them should say tripod cup or planter on them. And it's basically just a rectangle, okay? Kind of a long rectangle. So you're going to want to pick one of these, and again, you can decide how tall or how small of the tripod cup that you would like to make. So I'm just going to find one of these. I'll do kind of a smaller one for my demo here, and then I can put the rest back. And then I do want to roll out my slab. Now, if you forgot how to roll out the slabs from maybe Ceramics 1 class, please watch the video on that. On my YouTube channel, or I will post it in Google Classroom for you so that you remember how to use the slab roller and roll out a nice even slab. And then before I use this template to cut out the shape, I'm going to do my texture mat. So it's really important that we do our texture mat before we roll, before we cut out, the piece. Because if when I roll this, you can see it kind of changes the shape of the slab underneath. So I'm going to have to lay that on there twice. So it's important that you roll the texture first and then you cut out the template shape. Okay, so make sure to press nice and hard, try to get a good imprint. And then with a needle tool or a knife, it's kind of up to you, but I'm just going to use a needle tool. I'm going to go ahead, find the best part of my texture here and cut out the shape of the tripod cup. And unlike in Ceramics 1 where we use the PVC pipe to kind of roll this around, I don't have the PVC pipe to use as a form. So this one is going to be kind of just free formed. So what I mean by that is now that I have my texture on there, I'm going to flip this over so the texture's on the outside. And then I'm simply going to bring it together like this. Okay, and set it up right. So don't try to form your cup laying down like this. Put it up. So my joke is I always say I'm going to throw up a cup. So it's got to go up like that so that you can slip and score your seam. And you can see it will stand up by itself depending on how soft the clay is. Now I'm just going to go in with my serrated rib, a little bit of water or a little bit of slip, and I'm going to go ahead and put that together. Okay, and create my cylinder. and spend a little minute on this seam. So kind of press it together, blend it a little bit. And again, I don't have a form in here, so I don't have anything to press against. So if I'm going to blend, I've got to put my one hand inside and then, you know, press against my other hand, okay? And then another thing I like to do with these cups is to create a beveled edge. So I'll show you that on the next one. But for this one, I'm now going to create the bottom tripod. And this is where students get a little bit confused. It's really easy, guys. All you have to do is make kind of a triangle with your hands. So I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to start to make a triangle. So I just press it together like that. And then what I'm going to do is start to slip and score the little feet together. And again, put a little water or a little slip, and these are going to be my little feet. Now I'm not going to pull it all the way shut. What I'm actually going to do is take one of my little scrap slabs and I'm going to create a little triangle to fill in the bottom, and I'll show you why. So what I do is I just kind of lay it on top, figure out kind of a little patch, triangle patch, all right? And I can always make it smaller if I need to, but this is the same thickness as the slab that I just rolled out. So it should, hopefully with any luck, it'll fit in here. And I'm gonna slip and score that little triangle in there. So some students try to push it all the way shut. You can do that, but I would suggest doing it this way, and I'll show you why. So now I'm going to spend a minute again and kind of blend all this together. So it takes a little messing around, and my clay is pretty wet here, but you get the idea. So you're going to blend all this together, and you will lose some of your texture mat down here at the bottom, okay? But now I can push this together and kind of blend that together. And I would spend more time on that, to be honest. In fact, I probably would work on it day one, just kind of get it together, and then when it's more leather hard on day two, I can do more to it. But now I've got my three little tripod feet. So now what I'm going to do is flip it back over, and you can see I've got to blend the inside here too. So I probably need to grab a wooden tool or a wet paintbrush to help me with that. But what I want to do is create more of a bellied out shape here. So what I'm going to do is actually take my fingers from the inside, and I'm going to kind of run them up the walls of this little cup and try to push out a little bit. Now, if your fingers are fat like mine, sometimes you can also use a damp sponge to do this trick, but you're trying to kind of push it out. And so this is why I like putting the triangle on the bottom, because it kind of gives me more room to do this part. And this will stretch the clay a little bit, and it kind of just creates this really nice kind of chubby, like a little chubby shape, this little bellied out shape, which is really cute for this particular project. And so you can see in the bottom there, I would need to blend all that and slip and score it, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. See how I'm getting that curve there? And so if we look at some of the examples here, you can kind of see that bellied shape that I'm talking about. And so that looks nice for these projects. Okay, so that is the basics of how you do the feet and how you do the shaping. Now here's a student who did the bellied out, but then they pressed in this way too. So you could try doing that as well. So maybe once you have the little bellied out shape, maybe you want to use some pinch and just create, you know, more of a lip like this. It depends on what you're using it for. I probably wouldn't do this much of an exaggerated lip if it was a drinking mug, but if this is going to be a planter, that could look really nice to have that. And then of course, again, I would want to do more craftsmanship on this. So this is really a 2-day project. You need day one to kind of form it, and day two to really fine tune it, because right now this is so soft that as I'm manipulating it, it's, you know, it gets a little messy. But then of course, again, I would need to get in the bottom here and blend all that in as well. But you can see it's already taking on a pretty nice shape here, and this could be a really cute little planter. Now another thing, if you're gonna make it a planter, it's gotta have drainage holes in the bottom. So take something a little bit bigger, like maybe the back end of a paintbrush or something, and make sure that you add a drainage hole, because most houseplants like to have drainage in the bottom there. So again, I would probably have done that on day 2, not on the first day, because this clay is really, really wet, and so I'm misshaping it as I'm forming it. So get it up and kind of put together on day 1. Day 2, really do all your smoothing and shaping. So let's make one more of these that would be more of a drinking mug, and I'll show you how to create this beveled rim around the cup. All right, so this is going to be my second one, and I'm going to use a different template for this. Let's find one that's a little bit taller. So that one is a little bit bigger. So this one says mini, so I'm going to just do a regular one here. I've already put my texture mat on that, so don't forget, you do your texture mat before you cut out your template. Okay, I can save some of this because I need that little triangle in the bottom. Now I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to throw up my cup. Okay, make sure that you're flipping it up like that. And then I'm going to slip and score my seam together. Actually, backtrack. See, I almost forgot again. Okay, the beveled rim, let's do that. Okay, wait, backtrack. Okay, so I have it like this. Now what I'm going to do, before I form it, before I throw up my cup, is I'm going to take my rib and I'm going to hold it like at a 45-degree angle, and I'm actually going to scrape some of that clay away. And it might take 2 passes, because see how much I took off? So you kind of hold it at an angle, leaning in towards the bigger part of your slab, and you scrape away a little bit of that edge. And what that does is it just makes a nice drinking edge to this cup. In fact, I think I'll even take my needle tool now and trim that one more time. So I don't have that like that straight edge. So if you can see the difference, this one's more straight, whereas this one has that bevel, okay? And we're going to be talking about beveling edges in ceramics too quite a bit, because it's really useful when we're putting together like our boxes and stuff. Another place I can bevel the edge, you guys, is on the sides. I can take my knife in towards the shape, and I can cut a little bit away, holding it at a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to do the same bevel on this side. And let me show you what that will do. That actually looks really great, because there's my nice edge to drink out of. Now, when I wrap this around, see how nicely that fits together like that? So that's a really good trick too when you're building with slabs. And again, we're going to be doing more of this. So try that trick, bevel your edges, and if you do indeed want to make this a drinking mug, then bevel the top, because that is a much smoother surface right here to drink out of. So now I'm just going to blend this together, and you can see this is going together way better, I think. Maybe it's hard to see, but for me, putting it together is going to be together way easier because I had that little beveled edge. And for that one, remember, it was just same angle, and then they fit together nice. Now I'm going to take the bottom of my mug, I'm going to flip this over, so make sure you have kind of a clean surface, because I've got this nice beveled edge. I'm going to turn it over on its rim, and then this is going to be my tripod bottom. So again, I'm just going to take my fingers, start to make a triangle with my fingers, and start to find my 3 little feet. Okay, maybe put a little slip, but I'm also going to blend them. And then I'm going to take one of my scrap slabs over here and make that patch for the center. So here's my scrap slab. I didn't mess it up. It's still in pretty good shape. I can lay it on there, and it's not a perfect science, but kind of figure out the triangle that I need to cut out to fit in my patch. Okay, so now I can kind of sink that down in, and if it sits up on top, it's fine too, but figure out the best way to fit it in there, and kind of use a little bit of that extra clay to blend this on. Okay, and again, you might lose a little bit of your texture mat down in here, but you can push it in pretty far. All right, so now I've got my bottom all smoothed out. Now when I flip it over, again, I would need to get into the bottom of this, probably with a wet paintbrush and maybe a wooden tool. And I just don't have a wooden tool here in front of me to demo this for you, I apologize, but just take a wooden tool and work that inside. But that's how you create that beveled edge. And then again, I've still got this straight up and down, so I also would want to push from the inside and make that kind of more rounded shape. Okay, so I can get in there and push and create that belly. Okay, be a little careful of your seam if you're pushing where your seam is. And it will stretch out your texture mat a little bit, but I actually like the way that looks. I think it looks kind of cool. Okay, so you can start to see what I've got here. You can see that nice smooth edge. Obviously, if this was a drinking cup, I would then add a handle. There's all different kinds of handles that you can create, you guys. You can do a coil handle, a slab handle, just something where you can fit your hands in here so it's not gonna press your fingers against the hot liquid. Okay, so work on adding the handle. Again, that's probably something I would do on day 2. I could even use some of my scrap slabs here and make, you know, a slab handle if that's what I wanted to do, and form it into that half heart shape and attach that to my mug. All right, guys, well, that's the basics of how you create a tripod mug or planter. I hope that you guys enjoy this project. It's a really fun one. Take your time, do a nice job, and use good craftsmanship and have fun. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.